What's up? I'm Wobash in 3D, live on Twitch 5 days a week. I'm going to show you how to install Octoprint on your 3D printer today. Things you will need to get this working. You're going to need a Raspberry Pi, a USB cord, an SD card of at least 8 gigabytes, a USB SD card reader, a computer, and you're going to need to download some stuff. So first thing you want to download is the Octoprint image. That's at octoprint.org. You're going to go there. You're going to go to download. And you're going to download the Octoprint image. It might be a different version than this depending on when you do it. So we're going to save that to our desktop. Then you need to download Etcher. Etcher is going to flash the image to your SD card. Just Google Etcher or go to balena.io/Etcher, BALENA.io. Link will be in the description. Then we're going to download Etcher, put it on our desktop. Then we're going to download Putty, PUTT.org is the website. This is the SSH program to get into our Raspberry Pi without having it hooked up to a monitor. So we're going to go there and hit the download link and get the version that's right for our computer and put that on our desktop. The last thing we're going to download is Notepad++. This is a text editor that's going to work for editing our Wi-Fi network when Windows Notepad doesn't work. So we're going to put that on our desktop. Okay, so we got all those downloaded. We're going to extract the image that we downloaded onto the desktop, and we will install our programs. Etcher, just say I agree and it installs. That's good. Putty, click next, choose your folder, click next. You can mess around with this stuff, but I'd never do it, so hit install. Okay. And then you want to install Notepad++. Double click on the installer. Okay. Next, I agree. Where you want to install it. Next, install. Finish. Alright, so after we have all of that installed and downloaded and whatnot, we're going to insert our SD card into our computer. So after we do that, we're going to open up Etcher. We're going to flash from file, and we're going to pick our image that we downloaded for Octoprint. We're going to select our target. It's going to be the SD card we just entered, and then we are going to flash it. Now this will take a couple minutes. It's going to flash and then validate, and we'll be back once it's done. Alright, so after Etcher is done flashing the image to your SD card, what you want to do is pull the card out, put it back in. Now you might get a message that says that the card needs to be formatted. Don't do that, otherwise we'll lose all the progress we've made so far. So now that the SD card is back in there, we want to go to our Notepad+ that we downloaded, and we're going to run it as an administrator. And we're going to go File, Open, and find our SD card. We're going to find octopi-wpa-supplicant text and open it up. Now this is where we put in our Wi-Fi and region info. So everything with the number symbols in front of it, it's not going to read. It's like marked out. So what you want to do is get rid of the number symbols in front of network and SSID and password, and this bottom one too. And then inside of here, we're going to put our network name, and we're going to put our super secret password. If I can type, there we go. And then you're going to go down here and put a number sign next to the countries you're not at. If you push shift and 3, that works. And then we're going to erase this one because we're in the US, I'm pretty sure. All right, so that looks good. We're going to hit File, Save. close out of here, and then we can pull our SD card out and pop it into the slot in the Raspberry Pi and power up the Pi, and we'll be back. Okay, now that your Pi is powered up, just give it a minute, and then we need to find out what IP address it connected to. Now there's a couple different ways to do this, but I think the easiest way, and I'll put a couple different ways in the description, is to go to your router's login page. Now if you have Comcast like me, that's going to be 10.0.0.1. If you have like a Netgear or Linksys router, it's going to be 192.168.0.1 or .1.1, one of those. And the login credentials should be on your router if you haven't changed them. So log into your router page, and you're going to find something that's like connected devices or devices or something like that. Go ahead and click on that, and then we're just going to scroll around and look for the Octopi. Now it's right here, and we can see it's at 10.0.0.208. Now another handy thing you can do is hit edit and then hit reserved IP and hit save. That way the IP address won't change every time you rehook up your Raspberry Pi to the network or power cycle or something like that. Okay, now that we have the IP address and it's saved, we can go to PuTTY, the other program we downloaded, type in the IP address, and it's going to want you to log into the Raspberry Pi. So the default login is Pi, and the default password is Raspberry. And now you are logged into the Pi through the internet. So we can type in commands to the Pi. So what we want to do is sudo space raspi-config. And it's going to want you to type in the password again. And now you're in the Raspberry Pi menu system. So we can use the arrow keys to go up and down on here. So we can go into system options, and we want to change the default password because we don't want it to be known to everybody. So I typed in my own password, and boom, it's changed. You can also change your, where are they? Localization options, and configure your time zone. So I'm over in the West Coast on the Pacific Ocean, and boom. So when you're done with that, you can just hit finish and then sudo reboot, and now the Pi is going to restart, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, once you restart your Pi, you go into a browser and type in the IP address that we discussed. And this is what you'll be welcome to, the setup wizard. Hello, thank you for installing Octoprint. So once we have this pulled up, we're going to want to open up a new tab and go to this Octoprint page, and I'll leave the description in the profile. And this has all of the print settings for the different kinds of printers that are typical. If you have a printer that's not on this list, you're gonna have to Google and find out your own settings. So I'm using the Prusa i3 with MK3, so these are all my settings right here. So you hit next. It's gonna ask you if you want to restore a backup or not. It wants you to set up a username and password. So I already have mine from my last one, so I'm just going to use that one. And we're going to click next. And then I usually disable this anonymous trackage. So then we go next, and we're going to do a connectivity check. We're going to test the host port, it's reachable. We're going to test the name resolution, it's good, and enable connectivity check. If one of these don't work, that's a whole nother video. Alright, next we're going to enable the plugin blacklist, hit next. And now we're going to enter the printer settings. We're going to name it the Prusa model, we'll just call it the i3. We're going to go over to printer bed and volume, so we're going to enter all the settings for our printer. Now we know it's rectangular heated bed, and the dimensions are 250 by 210 by 200. So 250 by 210 by 200. Now some of the printers are going to have a custom bounding box. You want to click that because mine does. Look at the coordinates for X, Y, and Z. So our minimum is going to be 0 to 250. This one is the weird one. It's -4 to 210, and then 0 to 200. We want to go to axes and make sure that these are correct. So 6,000, 6,000, 200, 300. That's right. Hot end and extruder. So my nozzle is smaller because I put a smaller nozzle in it, but if you just have a typical nozzle, just leave that alone. So then after you have all of this in the correct for your printer, hit next and finish. And this is the Octoprint interface. You're gonna hit connect, and now you're connected to your printer. You can control it over here with the up and down arrows in the home. Control the temperature right here. In order to print something, you would hit upload, pick a file you want to upload. There it is, and then you just hit the print button. Your settings are over here, where you can change your printer profiles and add plugins, which we'll talk about next time. And that's the basic rundown of Octoprint. I know it was real fast and real loose, but if you have any questions, just go ahead and put them in the comments. Check me out on Twitch 5 days a week under the same name. You can check my Discord there. I'm also available to you if you have any questions. Have fun in 3D, 2D, whatever dimension you're in. Have a good one.